Welcome to episode 192 of the Disorganized Wizards Club podcast. My name is Alex. I'm joined as always by Adam.
Hello.
And Cam.
How's it going?
We're a group of Ottawa-based players that play just about anything and everything we can qualify for. Talk about decks, tournament stories, just about anything to help you and ourselves get better at Magic.
Well, yeah, I mean, at least lately it seems to be working out. Yeah, I'm on the right track. I'm getting there slowly, you know. It's a little bit of a turtle start. I had a lot of fun playing historic decks again this week. Made some decisions, learned a little bit. I don't really ever play the SAC decks, and I played it in historic. Man, there's a lot of decisions in that deck. I had a great time.
Yeah.
I feel like you were watching me get better at Magic in real time on the stream.
Yeah, didn't you stream this past week too? Some blue light control?
I did. I went undefeated on stream, and then my internet went out, and I was grumpy about it. By the time it came back on, I was like too grumpy to stream. I was like, well, I'm going to go do something else because I don't know how long my internet's going to be down.
Nice.
But,
that's not nice at all. How dare you? Internet going out is the plague of the modern society.
It might as well. It's like actually.
What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
I just sit there hitting refresh, mad, and that Dino game pops up in Chrome. But I'm not going to play that because I'm not in the mood for games. Because if I wanted to play a game, I'd want my fucking internet.
Oh yeah,
we hit a sore spot, didn't we?
Oh, it never feels good when the net goes down. No doubt about that. And I was midstream. And I was womping too with Blue White. I was doing some games for somebody who wanted some feedback on a list, and I don't know. It was weird because my feedback to them just was, yeah, I don't know. I didn't lose.
Didn't lose.
And that was before we streamed with the deck. I was telling Cam the day before that when I was playing the list a little bit as well. I was like, man, I'm playing this Blue White deck that this listener gave me to give him some notes. That it is actually his boss did, and Cam's like, well, yeah, no one can do anything, and then played it on stream, just couldn't. So I don't know. I felt kind of weird because I just gave feedback of, yeah, it's nuts. Yeah, even the one of Giant Killer in the sideboard of the list, I was like, wow, this is really good. But man, it felt good orienting people, which with Teferi 3 gone, I don't know. Okay, we can talk about all this after. Let's get all the other stuff out of the way. I'm just getting too big for my britches over here. I'm excited.
There is a lot to talk about this week, but before, most importantly, the DWC Organizational is only a few days away. It's currently Thursday the 6th. It is on Sunday, August 9th at noon Eastern, so a few days from when this episode comes out, which will be on Friday. The event, as always, is free, sponsored by the number one sponsor of this podcast, wizardtower.com. First place in the event is a booster box of M21. We've got wizardtower.com store credit for the rest of the top 8. I already mentioned the event is free. We're going to stream coverage of the entire event over on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/disorganized wizard club. So come hang out, join the fun. It's going to be a great stream, great day. Looking forward to it. We're playing historic. So bring your new historic brews. Come battle. It's going to be a great day.
One of the favorite times here at the DWC, dealing with the tournament, casting it, seeing all the decks, watching some sweet plays, watching some sick plays from a bunch of different people. You really get some really cool players from all different types, everybody coming over from all over to compete in the tournament, and it's always a really good time. Yeah, I'm thrilled, man. I always look forward to them every quarter, we do them every set release.
Yeah, if you want to sign up, you can find it on MTG Melee, or you can head over to our brand new website, dwc.gg. Click the link for MTG Melee's events, and it'll bring you right to our organization page where you can find the sign up.
Oh, yeah, I always forget site is live with my sweet, hilarious, creepy mustache photo. Yeah. I love it.
Your creepy mustache is all over all of our social pages, by the way.
I'm aware. That's the whole point. Yeah, you gotta. My beard's coming back in, but I might shave in a wildcat or something for the cottage trip here in a bit.
Nice.
My beard's getting out of control. I haven't done anything about it I trimmed my mustache, but...
Well, you have to. Or you just
unruly. But I don't trust myself to take clippers to it because the perspective is weird. I'm looking in a mirror. I don't have
barber.
I don't have great. Yeah, but I also don't want to take that risk unnecessarily at the moment.
Well, then just let it ride. Wasn't that your plan?
Yeah, but it's getting pretty unruly.
Your beard is actually massive, to be fair. It's one of the biggest beards I've seen in person.
Dude, I couldn't grow a beard that big if I tried.
No, there's no way.
No.
I wish I could. I'm so jealous it actually hurts.
I'm beat out by Gandalf and Dumbledore, but not many others.
Yeah, you stomp most people. It's crazy.
Some of the greatest wizards of our time, but
I mean, we're close third.
truly one of the greatest wizards, though. Cam, you're up there.
Thank you.
Yeah, that thing is getting massive. Are you still planning though on keeping it until you finish your PhD though?
Yeah. I mean,
God.
that's like the ground state of energy commitment, right? Like it's more work to get rid of it than it is to not get rid of it.
Yeah, you can't, man. Plus, like all the old, like, like famous, man. You gotta have a beard.
Yeah. I'll just wait until it goes gray.
Are you taken more seriously in the academic context when you have a massive beard?
Nah.
Because you're seen as
Beards
more
like,
wise?
Cam, are you kidding me? This is 1 in a million.
I don't know. I don't know how it's affected people taking me seriously.
Well, usually when I see a big beard, I think wisdom. So maybe it's doing some good for you.
They have a high wisdom score.
Yeah, I mean, since I've grown it out, a lot of people still sort of scoff at my ideas and think I'm joking, but that could just be the quality of my ideas.
Yeah.
Because that happened before as well.
It's not actually the delivery that's the problem, it's the content. I'm just kidding. No, of course. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you would because you have to assume that age comes with that, right?
That is true. I definitely
People think you're way older than you are, Cam.
Yeah, I mean, I was getting out of like my early 20s when I started growing it, but I would still get like ID'd a couple times here or there. But after I grew it out, like not ID'd anywhere. Like people definitely assumed I was older than I was. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, imagine getting ID'd, especially here, we're in like, well, I guess where we're from, right, is where it's 18 to buy alcohol, It's like, do I look 17? Your beard's like down to your belly button. You're like, do I look 17? And if I am 17, at this point, I need the beer. Like, this is the beard I have at 17. Like, just give me the goddamn 6-pack. Like, I need it. I can handle it, I've been through worse. Yeah. I don't know. I'd be hype if I could grow a beard like that 17, but alas, here we are.
yeah, it's good now. When I was 14, though, and got made fun of for like having a scraggly mustache, it wasn't great, but
I still have a scraggly mustache, Cam. So what are you gonna do if I'm right here, Cam?
Yeah, well, we ain't 14, so
Yeah, you aged into it.
Yeah, I grew into my scraggly mustache. Now it just seems fine. Yeah. All right.
What were we
what
talking
were we on
about?
Somebody get on the organizational. I don't know.
Yeah.
The classic.
Oh yeah, the
one
other
time
event
where
was
we
covered on
are
last weekend.
actually useful and organized. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a PT finals that some people watched.
Yeah. Well, yeah, relevantly. They were pretty good though. Did you watch? Did you get a chance to watch much? I actually watched a bunch.
No, I didn't see many.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good.
I got to see like the first 1 or 2 matches of the day before I had to go to work.
Yeah, there were some really cool games. There were a lot of cool decisions. The gameplay itself was like quite interesting. I thought games didn't seem that ridiculous. I mean, I know that like if you watch chat, it seems bad when someone like top decks like a Wilderness Wreck plays it, passes, the top deck's explosion the next turn, and then they're back in the game and they win. Like, yeah, of course, but that's also why you play Magic. I think it's hype. People are just getting like rankled. But
Did you see the
finals?
The clip floating around Twitter from one of Alan Wu's matches where his roommate is just like taking a piss in the background of his match?
Yeah. Yeah,
Dude,
I mean, I liked that. I loved that Riku
so
in the
fun.
finals was like barely keep his eyes open because he's been up since like 1 a.m. his time versus also somebody I think who's been up at like 3 a.m. their time or something.
Yeah. Christoph Prinz is from Germany, I think. So
Yeah, he was like playing in his garage or something on stream. It was awesome, dude. It was like, I don't know. I actually liked that part of it. It was like, all right, this guy's streaming from his garage. And we see here in the background Alan Wu's roommate taking a leak,
it's so good.
Because everyone's just streaming themselves for coverage instead of being like at a tournament. I don't know, man. It's so much funnier to me.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
I loved
our hero Michael Jacob died in the lower bracket finals.
I know. And he just had such bad game. I was so bummed. Me and Bloodbraid and 32 in our Discord. Dylan, we were watching. I was so depressed. Yeah, we were both just bummed.
But it doesn't matter. We don't have to talk about it because this format is dead.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good PT finals while it lasted, and that's the end of that.
Yeah, because this past Monday, August 3rd, no announcement of an announcement, no waiting a week for implementation. WotC dropped the ban hammer on us. And they didn't just ban cards in one format. They banned cards in multiple formats. 4 cards in Standard, 4 cards in Pioneer, 2 cards in Historic, 1 card in Brawl. This is crazy. I honestly can't believe they did it.
I made this joke when they first announced that they would announce their announcements. And so I'm going to close the joke now, but WotC can ban at instant speed again now that Teferi's gone.
No. Oh, that's actually really good. All right, well played.
Dude, honestly, I posted a meme on our Twitter last week about banning Wilderness Reclamation and Teferi, and they actually did it a few days later. So I don't want to take all the credit. But yeah, Ian Duke was following us on Twitter. And he checked
but
it
also
out.
everyone.
He's like, the boys have had it. It has to go.
So surprised though, because I was dead set convinced that they were going to ban. Well, not dead set convinced, but I was hopeful that they would ban Rec and Teferi when they banned Agent of Treachery. And I was dead set convinced that if they didn't ban them, then they'd never ban them. So this is
I
a shock.
remember.
Yeah. I didn't think they'd ban them either. It completely caught me off guard. But anyway, we can talk about what the cards were actually banned because we've touched on it briefly. Wilderness Reclamation, Growth Spiral, Teferi Time Raveler, and Cauldron Familiar all banned in Standard. All the best decks were axed.
These were bans even before the Agent ban that I had brought up, as I believe Canadian icon P. Sams had demanded these be banned. He even said something from Food, probably Cat, Wilderness Rec for sure, Growth Spiral. Like he wanted these banned almost a year ago.
Yeah.
And they finally did it, but boy, were they late on this one.
Yeah.
Also, man, what a disaster world we live in. Truly. It seems a lot less worse given, the light of everything else going on. But by God, obviously, a dystopian reality we live in here in the bannings.
There's just been so many.
I just can't believe how many bannings there have been. It's
Stockholm syndrome.
Insane.
I've come to be glad for them. I'm happy this is happening.
Yeah. I mean, people are actually excited about Standard right now, which usually this time of year is when people are least excited about it because there's not really any events. Everyone's just kind of waiting until rotation because they're kind of sick of the format. But
yeah,
this format was nuked. All of the best decks are done. I mean, it kind of feels like anything is possible.
Man. As bad as the other bands are, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm with Cam. Maybe they Stockholm Syndrome me, and now I just think these bands are good things, but it seems sweet.
Yeah, I'm super happy. If anyone saw the joke bingo sheet that we released for the PT that just happened, where every square was about Growth Spiral, that's what the format felt like. It felt like you were just conceding if you didn't play Growth Spiral. We even had a Versus episode where we joked that we all just brought Growth Spiral decks because nothing else can really compete. So I'm glad to see things that are so restricting on deck building by sort of, is innocuous the right word? By subtle power level reasons that they're not super flashy, but you kind of have to play them. They're not interesting, but they have to be included.
Oh yeah, they seem innocuous is what you're trying to say. They're seemingly innocuous.
Yeah, it's not fun to play Growth Spiral. No one gets excited, but
they're not flashy, sure. And it doesn't seem like it can be. At first people probably didn't think Growth Spiral was a massive offender, and it probably didn't become obvious to a lot of people clearly until it became popular to complain about Growth Spiral.
Mm-hmm.
For a long time, but Growth Spiral was sort of floating around the edges and margins of this the entire time. I mean, I've been dead set since the spoilers on Eldraine that Growth Spiral and Uro were going to be too much.
Yeah, 2 of those together is a lot. So it'll be interesting to see what just Uro can do.
Yeah, sorry, not Eldraine, but yeah, just Growth Spiral, Uro together. But yeah, even Uro is so powerful, but I knew it was going to be a problem in Standard. Just that pair of them was just so much. I mean, on the we can talk about things going forward. But yeah, I like the Cauldron Familiar ban, though, if you ban that, just to be safe.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting one. I didn't expect them to axe Familiar as well. Reclamation, Growth Spiral, Teferi for sure. But I guess it makes sense because the sacrifice decks would probably just be too good.
Yeah, it feels similar to when they sort of also banned Rampaging Ferocidon, their argument being that while red isn't good now, like it looks like it will take over because of the other bans we've made. So we're going to take something from it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So I
actually
like-
a good point. Yeah, I like that point a lot.
Like they've banned like this in the past, and also Cauldron Familiar's gameplay is kind of awkward, particularly on Arena with a lot of clicking. So like if that stayed around for much longer, people might continue to grow sicker of it if people aren't tired of it already. So I don't mind it.
I wonder if it's a card we'll get back when Mayhem Devil and Priest rotate.
Yeah, maybe. Have they ever unbanned anything in Standard?
Yeah, they unbanned Ferocidon right at the end.
Yeah. It made like such a little impact though that it didn't really feel like it, but that is true.
It wasn't very long. It was right before rotation in the last like month or whatever, but it has been done. I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, we might get it back at some point. Give us a break from clicking through sacrifice triggers and bring it back at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could see it return if they think it has a good fit, or it might line up in the meta where it still continues to open up space, but that is a risky game for sure.
There are also bannings in Pioneer, which lost Inverter of Truth, Underworld Breach, Kethis, and Walking Ballista. 4 cards from 4 different combo decks.
Yeah, they just nuked combo into oblivion in this format.
Yeah,
like,
these are kind of the key pieces. I mean, Inverter of Truth was the key piece in Dimir Inverter. Breach in the namesake Breach decks. Kethis was its own combo deck. And Walking Ballista was being comboed with Heliod the Sun Crowned. So I guess they're just trying to make it more mid-rangey, like the dream modern matchups, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like no one was just, it was simply just no one cared about Pioneer. People weren't playing the format still. You know, it's hard to, even though the decks weren't having like problematic win rates, I mean, if no one likes the format, you got to make changes, right? So I like the approach for sure.
I do too, if they're trying to save it. I wonder if Pioneer is actually a doomed format because, literally because of COVID, actually, because it was like kind of a paper format and they had a lot of paper support, which all just died instantly.
Yeah.
Like as the format was like blooming into its like modern state.
That's why I was excited about it when it was first announced, because I haven't ever gotten rid of any of my cards that rotated from like Cons of Narkir onwards, which is Pioneer goes back a bit further, but I basically had all of Pioneer. So I was excited to go out and play it in paper because I could build a bunch of different things. But yeah, it's not on any online platforms that I play. Like it's not on Arena. I didn't have a Moto account. And I think a lot of Magic players, especially newer and current ones, are in a similar sort of digital position as I am. And so if there's no paper events, then Pioneer basically just doesn't exist in my world.
Yep. Yeah. Like I actually think that matters quite a bit. And it's probably going to affect the future of Pioneer going forward. And they might not be able to save it because of that. I'm not sure, but I mean, like, it's definitely, it has to matter. It just has to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the goal is still to add it to Arena, right? So we will. I don't know.
Really hope they do that sooner than later. I think that would be a huge boon for them and the format and for Arena.
Like they did say
obviously
we
it would
were
be great for
getting
it.
Pioneer Masters version 1 by the end of this year. So like they're going to break it up into chunks or whatever. But so we won't have Pioneer entirely this year. We'll just have a slightly larger historic format with Pioneer cards, but they'll work their way towards it. So
Maybe this is just me, but I really hope they just merge Pioneer and Historic. I mean, I guess Historic has some non-Pioneer legal cards, so maybe that would be hard to do. But like the amount of formats, it feels kind of cluttered at the moment. Like Pioneer and Historic don't feel significantly different to me. Modern still exists. There's Standard, there's Draft. There's just so much going on that it's like too much to keep track of.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll shrink it down eventually. I assume they will. They almost have to. Historic might just get combined with something with Pioneer. You're right. I could see them doing something like that. I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think they do it. Like they've already been putting a lot of support into Historic, and it's kind of become its own thing with all the new cards they've added to it, like Jumpstart and the anthologies. Like I don't really see them just throwing that all out the window, right?
Yeah. There's 5 Eternal formats. I mean,
Yeah, but
players,
like
Legacy and Eternal aren't really, or not Legacy and why am I blanking on the other one? Vintage aren't really options, and Modern is kind of pricey too. But like there are 5 Eternal formats. Like there's just so much going on.
Yeah, the Eternal formats are weird. I mean, I think they're just going to get phased out. I mean, they are as far as competitive Magic, and then they'll just keep them for like people who want to play them at pubs or whatever it is, or like casual game nights. Like I'm pretty sure that's where it's going.
Yeah, who really knows? But
like, well, they're just not going to support Legacy anymore. You just can't.
Yeah, I mean, they were only doing what, 1 GP a year already.
Yeah, well, they were doing 2, and then something happened that caused one to get canceled, and then they just canceled them all together.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, whenever we do get GPs
correctly.
back in like 10 years or something, if we'll go back to 1 a year or something like that. But
I don't know that we'll maybe we'll get like 1 Legacy GP a year still. Yeah, it's possible. But I think Modern will also go the way of that.
I don't know. People love Modern. Like, that's still a very, very popular format.
That's true.
So
yeah, I mean, Legacy and Vintage are the ones that are like no one cares.
Yeah, like, I mean, I guess Legacy and Vintage have the problem of like being exponentially more expensive than every format. Whereas like Modern is still super expensive, but like comparatively to the other two, it's not so bad.
I mean, I guess my complaint isn't really a reasonable complaint. Like, oh, there's too many different things I can do in Magic and I can't keep track of them all. Like, I can just pick the formats I like and focus on them. And if someone wants to be a Pioneer and Modern player only, like, they can do that too. It's just, yeah, it's going to, like, as soon as there's more formats everywhere, like, no one's going to be able to keep track of all the matchups and playstyles and decks and all of them. Well, so maybe it's good.
Well, back on these Pioneer bans, I think all of these bans are good. If it was up to me, I would have banned Heliod instead of Walking Ballista, but I do understand why they did it. Kethis seems a little weird to me because, like, I do understand it's a combo deck, but it's like such an easy combo deck to interact with. And like Underworld Breach and Inverter of Truth were decks that weren't easy to interact with in the same way that you would normally interact with combo decks, right? Which is why they were so frustrating to play against. And Heliod Ballista I get just because it's a 2-card combo. But Kethis, like, this is an engine combo deck that requires a lot of setup, and there's so many ways you can fight it. You can fight it with Graveyard Hate, with creature removal, like counter spells. Like, there's just multiple ways to do it. And I think it was a little preemptive on this one, because I do think combo decks existing in the format is a good thing. And I think Kethis was a good combo deck to exist. But that being said, like, they do mention that it was currently among the top 5-0 trophy winners in Magic Online leagues since Oath of Nissa was got unbanned. And I know it took down one of the 2 Pioneer challenges on the first weekend that Oath of Nissa was back in the format. So, like, if it's taking down a big event in the first weekend, the card is back, maybe there's you're going to have a problem down the road. So cutting it now with all the other combo cards is just reasonable.
Seems just like a safe banning.
Yeah, exactly. But I am a lot more excited to follow Pioneer and maybe get back into the format now. Although I did really enjoy playing Inverter decks. I think axing all these two card combos in the format and getting rid of Breach is overall a very big net positive for Pioneer. So I guess this weekend we'll see if the challenges fire, if people start playing again.
Yeah, if people actually show up.
Yeah, and then the biggest format, the one which we're featuring this weekend at the Organizational, Historic, Wilderness Reclamation, Teferi Time Raveler, both banned in the format. So you no longer have to worry about Wilderness Rec ruining the entire format. We don't have to worry about Teferi pissing everyone off. Card's gone. And I mean, the format feels pretty wide open still, although I think we're starting to see a few of the best decks rise to the top now. I
don't think it's a few though. I think that's like one of the things with Historic. I think that there's probably several.
Yeah. Poor choice of words.
I know, but I mean, like, everywhere else, it always feels like it's like only like 2 or 3, but Historic right now feels like several decks could win any given weekend right now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more. There's a lot of open spots, man. Yeah, that format's wild right now. I feel, I don't know.
Yeah, Watsy posted all of the 7-win decks from this past weekend that won the $2,000 in the Arena Open for Historic. And I mean, right up top of that list was Teamer Reclamation with the most most decks finishing with 7 wins. But right after that, at 14 decks apiece, was mono white auras and blue white auras. And I mean, if you group those together, it was by far the most winning strategy. And I played the blue white auras deck at Versus last night, and it felt very, very good. Like
it looked sick.
It killed so fast. And yeah, the decks that weren't able to, the decks that just weren't prepared for that kind of strategy, it felt like they didn't even stand a chance. It felt like I was just playing solitaire, to be honest.
Yeah, Core Spirit Dancer gets huge so fast. Your hand was always full. That was such an insane pickup for. I mean, the whole strategy's based around it.
Yeah, it's been putting some good results up in other small events over on MTG Melee as well this week. I've seen a lot of streamers picking the deck up. It felt really good. It'd be one of my top contenders if I were playing this weekend in the organizational for sure. If anyone wants to check out the list I played, you can head on over to our Twitter page and it's up there. And there's different versions of the deck all floating around right now. But yeah, the Auras deck definitely did impress me. Aside from that, Adam, you played a red-black sacrifice deck last night, which looked really good as well.
Yeah, it looked really, really strong. Yeah, it's interesting that Claim the Format is probably even better there, as Cam pointed out, for a bunch of reasons. That the format has a better mana efficiency, so creatures are just generally lower costed, which, in older formats just makes Claim even better. And it's still like a format where Mayhem Devil lines up really well. Like, I don't know, the deck just felt really, really, really strong. And I did not play optimally. I didn't play that badly. I made like maybe a mistake or two, but like a couple here and there. But yeah, the deck just felt really efficient. I had some really ugly draws and still came back from them just on the back of like something like a top deck Croxa. Although getting my graveyard shut down and interacted with that is really tough for me to beat. Sorry.
Yeah,
like scavenging just felt impossible to beat, but if it got ahead.
Yeah, the deck has its weaknesses, but compared to the red-black versions in Standard, where they were playing things like Mire, like if you were playing Croxa in your red-black deck in Standard, you were playing things like Mire Triton to try and fuel it. Those sort of awkward, bad cards that you needed to include are replaced with good cards in the historic version, so it just feels like an even more well-oiled machine. You get things like Stitcher's Supplier to fuel your Croxas. You have Phyrexian Tower to just give you extra sack outlets and ramp. So the deck just like really pops off on its synergies, and its synergies are strong. Like, I mean, when it's going off, it kills everything on the board, kills your opponent, draws cards, attacks, makes them discard. Like, I don't know if there's an axis it doesn't attack on.
It is super good. One of the cards I was underwhelmed by was Fanatical Firebrand, and there was 2 of in the list I played, which is whatever. I mean, like, maybe there isn't a better replacement. I don't know. Like, so I'm committing the sin here, Cam. I'm not offering a better.
It might have been a matchup thing though. Like, Firebrand is perhaps the most synergistic answer to things like Llanowar Elves.
It might also be though, because Firebrand also lines up against the dogs. The doggo protection from blue-white boggles.
Yeah, and it's 2 damage. It's a shock if you have a Mayhem Devil out. So
yeah. So if I can offer a replacement for that card, I think you are playing Fanatical Firebrand's Call of the Death Dweller, that sort of build. I think I like the builds with Bolas's Citadel a little bit better.
Because you can just kill fast.
Yeah, you just have a like almost instant combo kill. And Phyrexian Tower and Priest of the Forgotten Gods being able to ramp it out a lot quicker just seems really, really good right now in the format, especially with decks like Auras floating around that are just kind of trying to ignore you. That would, if I were to build like Jund Sack or Red-Black Sack right now, I definitely would lean into a little bit more of that plan, I think.
Really? I think that I don't know though. That's what I mean. Because like my first initial reaction is that like Call of the Death Dweller bringing back like Priest Fanatical Firebrand, like taking their Selfless Dog or whatever it's called. What's the blue-eyed dog called again? The new one?
Selfless Savior.
Selfless Savior, yeah. Like to picking the dog is like, I don't know. That seems good. If you like bring back a priest, like Call of the Death Dweller doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know, but like Citadel, but also Citadel, if you ramp it out, just kills them. But Priest should also just kill them. Like the matchup's probably not bad for blue white. So if you're playing Citadel, it's because your other matchups aren't great, right? Like, what are the bad matchups for the Sack deck? Because I actually think the Sack deck has like an okay Boggles matchup. So shockingly, like a good game one and like an okay game one, and then maybe a good board if you're worried about it this weekend. Like if you were playing this for this weekend, I'm saying like because you can bring in some sacrifice stuff from the sideboard. And Grass Rampage is insane. Chainer's E-Day.
Yeah, I mean you're gonna prey on any of the slower mid-range decks as a sacrifice deck.
Prey on any of the what? Sorry,
the slower mid-range decks.
Oh yeah.
Field of the Dead. I'm not sure how you line up against Field of the Dead.
It's depends how many cat ovens and whether they can answer them. Everything else, like, I mean, and they have to answer Devil, obviously, but Devil's an obvious, like, if that thing lives, that deck wins.
Yeah, the field decks can probably just go over the top of them if they don't have like a really good synergistic draw with like cat oven Devil, or if you don't have access to something like Bolas' Citadel to just win immediately. You might get
that's a matchup where the Citadel's going to shine. Is like the field decks. Obviously, you just win on the spot versus them. They're just done. Yeah. That matchup though, I think it's like you're okay in. Like it's actually not that bad for you. As the like slower matchups don't feel too bad for you either. The like red black deck might actually be in just like one of the best spots. Hey, and Jun Food, like they might be in really good positions right now.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. The Goblins deck obviously gains a lot from these bannings as well, as they had a really hard time beating the Wilderness Reclamation deck just because Magma Quake was an absolute nightmare for them.
I can't believe they had to play against that.
Yeah, plus like the Wilderness Rec deck just like had counter spells, which is the best way to deal with the Muxus. So like, and if they didn't have it, they had the Magma Quake to just wipe the board at instant speed. So that was just like a nightmare matchup. But that's gone now. So you have a little more room to run around and smash people with goblins. So that'd be a deck I'd be looking for. Yeah.
Muxus is legitimately a messed up card. Like if you haven't had the experience and joy yet of playing goblins, you should, or watching it at least, like you should. It's wild. I mean, unless you're Cam, you just missed every spin, but
yeah. The joys.
Yeah. But you go like when you played Iron Craig feet combo, you also just turned 4 Ugin. So
yeah, I mean that was great.
That's how it always should be.
Yeah, I should always get lucky.
Yeah, I agree. But unfortunately, I have all the luck, Cameron.
Yeah, you're cashing it all in. I think you have like an infinite resource of it.
Oh yeah, I got lead into stone or lead into gold over here. I got the Philosopher's Stone when it comes to luck.
But yeah, those are some of the historic decks I'd keep my eye on for this weekend. I think they all have a good shot at taking down events. They all feel pretty close in power level. If I had to choose a deck right now, I'd probably just play Auras because that deck, I mean, just felt absolutely messed up when I played it last night. But
it looked unbelievable. People in chat were like losing their minds. Multiple people messaged me about it. They're like, "What is that blue-white deck?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, it's unreal."
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how the event goes this weekend.
Yeah, the red-black deck was good. Like in a few weeks, not for this weekend, but in a few weeks, I mean, the Field of the Dead decks get access to Hour of Promise, which seems like a pretty easy conclusion. Or inclusion.
Amonkhet Remastered. When does that come out?
I think it's 2 weeks.
It's in a week or two, something like that.
Man, but that's an insane addition. Hour is a bananas card. That card is so powerful. That's also just one of my all-time favorites. I loved it in Standard. I played so much Hour of Promise in Standard. So all I did was play Hour. I remember I even played that Dumb Dinos deck for a while, Cam. It was like playing
oh yeah.
all the dinos, wraths and everything. Like,
it's in exactly 1 week from now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
On the 13th.
But Hour of Promise is super hype. I'm so excited for that to come out next week.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good cards getting added to the format.
I'm just gonna become a Field of the Dead historic that's all I can play because I love field decks and banned me in Standard, but I didn't think it'd be as good as it is. I'm actually super excited for Hour in that format and stuff.
Hour of Promise, Hazaret, God Pharaoh's Gift. Oh man, God Pharaoh's Gift. I love that card. That's gonna be
GPG
fun.
Makes a return. There's probably gonna be insane GPG decks. There's like Stitcher Supplier and stuff, man. There's crazy cards.
That sounds great, man. Historic is gonna get wild.
Yeah, dude, there's like insane Reanimator GPG combo decks probably. Like you both reanimate or you bring back the GPG.
Mm-hmm.
Holy smokes.
Bringing back Craterhoof Behemoths. Doesn't really matter if it's a 5/5 or a 4/4.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
All right. This sounds great.
Yeah. That's actually nuts. Like a GPG historic combo. Yeah. We
That's
should
actually,
build this one.
you also get, what's the 3-mana card? When it enters play, you draw and discard equal to its power. It's a rare.
Oh, the Oracle. Or the
With the
snake thing.
Eternalize.
Blue guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What was
Why
that
can't I
card?
think of its name?
What set was it from? Hour of Devastation?
Yeah, it's got a C in the name. Not Championship Oracle.
I need to find it.
I know what you're talking about too.
I'm going to find it. Stay tuned.
I cast
Champion
so
of Wits.
many of that card.
Champion of Wits. There we go.
Yeah,
Champion of
That
Wits.
card is literally like the perfect card for the decks I've been building, that the Reanimator decks, because you just like draw your Craterhoofs and you're like, fuck, I guess I wait to cast this now. It's literally
no
perfect.
kidding. You can just dip it from your hand, but also like even in fair Sultai decks, think about it, man. Like that card's good with Uro. It's good with like, I don't know, like you can do a lot.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I'm really excited. It's gonna be an insane format.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of love it, man.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the event this weekend. I'm looking forward to the shakeup next week, brew some new decks. It's gonna be a good time. Historic is really exciting right now. And I'm super glad
you can play a lot of decks.
I'm really glad they axed Teferi and Wilderness Reclamation, because, oh man, it was looking like it was going to go downhill real quick.
It was, dude, I mean, clearly you remember the images you were sending me of the links of all the pics of screenshots of tournament results and stuff. Or when we were hanging out on Discord one morning and we were looking at them all, you're like, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah, I just linked them in our
Adam, look at this tournament.
In our podcast group chat, and I was like, damn it, Historic's ruined. We were just talking about on the show the week before about how Historic was great, and then the weekend happened and Teamer Rec became a thing, and it was just, I was like, God damn it, not another format.
Yep.
But we're saved.
Luckily,
thank you, Watsy. We appreciate you.
I just hope that they've learned. Both 4-mana enchantments that they printed that cheated on mana have been miserable, and they had to ban them.
well, now they'll just put 3-mana enchantments that cheat on mana 5.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
That was the
was
issue. How he
probably
was so
just
silly.
Yeah, so silly of me, Cameron.
Well, because if you have 3-mana enchantment that untaps your lands on end step, it's only giving you 3 extra mana that turn. That's less than 4.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get 8 mana, you get 6.
Yeah, might as well print it at 1 mana, because then you're not even getting that much extra mana.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. It's called City of Traders.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Mana mechanics are slowly expiring, which I'm quite happy for.
Yeah.
And I hope they never come back.
Man, you can't really play blue-white in Standard, though. It's going to be weird. Like, I'm so curious in Standard what's going to happen, too.
Yeah, we can talk about some standard decks right now, because we talked about the bands, but we didn't really talk about the format at all.
Okay, so before we move off Historic, though, I just want to say, so like the decks, I don't know, for this weekend that we're expecting people to play at the Org is like Boggles, both of blue-white and white variety. Probably Field of the Dead decks. I imagine we see some control decks, probably some weird combo decks. I expect some mono blue, some tempo decks, some red-black sack, some Jund, goblins for sure. Is there anything else we're expecting?
I'm honestly expecting just like a large number of people's individual brews. I feel
I'm
like a
looking
bunch of
forward to
Dreadstart cards still haven't been explored. As much as like there are some clear contenders for possible best decks in the format, it's still like there's so many cards that you can brew with, and I think that's mostly how people have been playing the format. So what they're familiar with is going to be, their list, and I expect to see a bunch of that.
I hope so too, actually, because I'm even convinced Niv Mizzet is good, man. I went undefeated on the one Historic versus with that deck somehow. But I mean, in the guild colors, there's a lot of really powerful answers, and the format's not that fast that a 5-mana 6/6 flyer isn't scary, except for the Boggles deck. That's an issue, but everything else, just make sure you have cards for it. Angrass Rampage gets found off Niv Mizzet, just saying. Okay, yeah, we can talk about Standard, I guess.
All right, Standard. I'm happy to announce that Sultai Midrange might be the best deck in the format right now.
I have good news for you. Good news, everyone.
Even without Growth Spiral. I guess
Yeah.
no one has it, so that's even across the board.
Yeah, not only does no one have it, but you also just have like multiple very good 2-mana cards that you can replace it with, like Thought Erasure, Agonizing Remorse, Eliminate, Heartless Act. Like these are all just like good cards that you can play instead of Growth Spiral, and your deck is still good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You still suffer from the usual Sultai problem of mono red is not a good matchup, but you do have Extinction Event, so it's not as bad as it used to be. I've seen a lot of people playing Sultai on ladder, a lot of people doing really well with Sultai on ladder. It should be on your radar if you're not playing it. I played it I actually played Standard this past week. Can you believe it?
Really? Go on.
I played Sultai. I played like 3 mirrors in a row, and I was like, all right, I've had enough.
I mean, it's still really good.
Yeah.
I've heard people speculating and trying to decide if the format's going to slow down or speed up as a fact or as a consequence of Teferi leaving.
Old Terry.
Yeah, by Terry. Because as some people pointed out, Teferi is very good at elongating games, bounces creatures, draws cards, encourages you to play late to like take advantage of that card advantage.
Yeah.
And since it's not disrupting early board presence, maybe aggro decks have more of a spot now. So like mono green aggro is something that was around. Mono black did quite well, got into the finals of the PT this last weekend. So maybe those decks are even stronger in this context because they're not going to be interacted with as early. They don't have to attack Teferis. Like
Yeah.
it helps them a lot.
And then it helps them pressure like these kinds of mid-range decks as well, which is a good thing. It keeps things in check. Like this Sultai ramp deck that to me though looks like just a fair, honest mid-range deck. I don't know, man. I'm cool with this. If this is the best deck, the Sultai deck, sure. There's ways to beat this.
Definitely. Yeah, another deck I think is kind of a slam dunk good deck right now is Teamer Adventures.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's exciting to see it make a return in Standard before it's, actually, does it even really move? It's kind of a, what's it called deck? Like a block deck.
I think it stays.
Yeah, nothing. You just lose the mana base. Everything else.
It's a block. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with Knights. Oh man, hype. Play some Eldraine Knights decks. I mean, it's possible. I have no idea. There's lots of room in Standard, man. You can probably explore a lot of things.
I wonder how good Winota decks are now. Because like nothing from the Marty Winota deck that Michael Jacob played is gone. The whole deck still exists.
Yeah, it's probably good. I mean, even though it was built to prey on Wilderness Wreck, I mean, it clearly can beat other decks too.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting one. Like, yeah, that deck is still strong and it still has its nut draws, but also like the best cards against Winota herself and that strategy are instant speed removal, which are now more playable in general with Teferi gone.
Yeah, true.
So there might be like competing secondary, tertiary effects that impact how Winota lines up. It's an interesting one.
Yeah. I'm super curious. Standard, I'm not sure. I can make speculations about Historic, but Standard, I feel a little lost in right now. I'm excited to play it though. Like I'm actually excited for the BANS. I can't believe I'm saying that, but here we are. This is the world we live in. But I am actually glad that our tournament for Historic this weekend, or that our tournament this weekend is Historic.
There's a pretty interesting Boros Winota deck from that 4-0 to SCG Tour online event today. I'm looking at it on my screen right now if you guys want to take a look.
Yeah.
Winota, War Boss, Stone Coil.
Well, Ginger Brute getting in there.
Yeah, Ginger Brute.
I'm listening.
3 Ember Cleave. Like, I don't know. This deck could be good.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things that could be good in Standard right now. It's nice to see. I'm like really happy about it. Like, I think that Standard's probably always a good judge too here. When you see something like Raise the Alarm doing okay in Standard, doing okay in tournaments. Raise the Alarm, about the power level I want in Standard. Like, I'm serious. I think that's like a good power level. You start to push it when you have things like Sylvan Advocate, but that's cool too. But that's about it. Let's keep it around there.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, though, Raise the Alarm isn't being played because it's powerful. It's being played because it's absolutely messed up with Winota.
Sure, but like it means that it's also good enough on its own to see play in that deck like as well, because it was reflective of like the broader power level of cards that see inclusion in current Standard play. Like these kinds of decks just wouldn't see play because their overall power level of each individual card just nothing compared to what we were used to or would have had.
Yeah, like the Winota decks still play a respectable aggro game when they don't draw Winota.
Yeah, for sure. I think this deck's probably good too. Yeah, like the Winota decks are all probably fine. These like early aggressive decks not getting bounced by Teferi, like you said, Cam, are probably a big upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool. It should be fun to see where it goes.
We have flash decks coming back.
Yeah, I mean,
a Teamer flash deck here. Like,
yeah,
just so many counterspells got unbanned. A Frilled Mystic got unbanned.
yeah. Frilled Mystic definitely got unbanned. Shark Typhoon took a bit of a hit.
Yeah, not as
Maybe.
good as it was, but that's just playing a Sublime Epiphany. You would have never seen that before.
No, you can't. You actually could never play a Sublime Epiphany in the World of Teferi, but now you can.
Yeah.
You can do so much. I'm actually so happy to see that card gone. Fuck, that card is miserable.
Teferi? Oh, yeah.
I'm so glad it's gone. That card was horrible.
I hated it as soon as I played games with it. When it was released, and I was like Kaya's Wrathing green-red players on their turn after they played their like 4-drop and just kind of shrugging and apologizing because there was nothing they could do. Like, it's so dumb.
Teferi 5 was hype, though.
Uh,
I don't even care about losing that card. It was just so badass. That thing was scary. It had like a power level that I'm okay with, like for a 5-mana walker for standard, where it's like just terrifying. Never mind. It was busted. They had to errata it a bunch. I take it back. Why is that guy so broken all the time?
Teferi 5 was like
this is
Control decks didn't play
My
WinCon.
apologies.
Their WinCon was
It was just Teferi. Yeah, that was broken beyond belief.
Yeah.
Teferi 3 is somehow more obnoxious.
yeah. It's crazy.
It is crazy. Teferi 4 seems pretty chill though.
Yeah.
Yeah, seems to have calmed down.
Yeah, from just whomping every format they see on site when they were printed previously to just, it's okay. It's like a good card.
Yeah, they rolled low on that one.
Yeah, thank God. I don't know that people could take it anymore.
I wouldn't have been able to.
Lord knows.
Give me some other blue planeswalker. Give me some planeswalker who we've never met before, who was born and raised on whatever new plane we're visiting.
And make the card garbage.
Yeah, please. Just something other than the 5 or 6 Teferis we've had to deal with.
Yeah. But I think at least in historic though, anything can win. At least standard, I don't know where things are going to go. It's cool though. These are sweet bannings. I mean, I think it's fun to do it during quarantine as well. And I think it's actually cool they addressed, I said this on the pre-show, that I think it's actually pretty cool they addressed the material like reasons behind it, that like the world's in a weird spot, so we can kind of get away with bannings, way more bannings than we usually would to like test the waters. I think it's like really cool to admit that like you're kind of dealing with those material conditions in the community and try and play around with them in a space where you can, instead of trying to pretend like you have some like rigid value you have to hold on to as far as like the sacredness of bannings or not. So I'm like happy to see WotC like taking pretty proactive bans here, which is a really unusual thing for me to say, and especially for the podcast as a position. Like, we've in the past been very upset about sort of people calling for bans too quickly, but this is one that I think is good for the game overall, and it's like a good time to do it materially. Wow. Pretty cool banning.
I mean, the best time to do it was a while ago, but
sure,
the second best time is right for now. So we're fine. It's good.
Yeah, like, I mean, if they're going to ban it, at least they banned it. Like, sure, they did it 8 months too late, but like, it's kind of cool to see them at least acknowledge that, like, well, like card values aren't as probably important. Like, it's kind of weird to see them like subtly acknowledging the material market around the cards, something they never, ever, 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 ever do. Just from like a history of the game perspective, it's really unique to see, actually, to follow their sort of like discussions and announcements during this period from like the material history aspect of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty fascinating time, even for like the game itself, because of, everything.
Cool.
Right.
Yeah. Also, I don't know, do we have anything else we want to talk about?
Yeah, I got a blowout that I had to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
Some people saw at Versus last night. I don't know who programs Arena, but I hope they're listening.
I'm sure they are.
Because the way they auto-tapper prioritizes Guardian Idol is insane. So it's a new Jumpstart card in Historic. It's a 2-mana rock that enters tapped. You can tap it for a colorless, and you can pay 2 to turn it into a 2/2. Now, because it can become a creature, I generally want it to be untapped always, so I have the option of animating it on my opponent's turn, or I have the option of attacking with it. But it was the first thing auto-tapper tapped, always. There was times where it would leave me with 2 lands untapped and a chromatic lantern untapped, and it would spend my guardian idol.
To activate it even.
Yeah, that was actually the most insane one. I clicked guardian idol. Good. I clicked guardian idol and hit activate ability, and it tapped one land and guardian idol itself to turn it into a tap two.
Yep, and left your chromatic lantern up. Get wrecked.
So if anyone's playing with this card and you haven't somehow already noticed, or if you're planning to play with this card for the first time, turn off auto tapper. It just doesn't work with guardian idol. It guards nothing. Your mana is not safe. It was infuriating. There was a game against Ellie I could have won, and instead it just tapped my only blocker and I died.
And he died immediately, literally.
Oh yeah.
Max punished. Can't believe it. It's like they just didn't even play with the card. It's like they programmed it in and they're like, yep, good. Let's go get drinks.
Yeah, I mean,
All right. On that note, thank you all for joining the club this week. Make sure, as always, wizardtower.com for all your Magic single needs. Don't forget, the DWC Organizational is only a few days away. Sunday, August 9th, noon Eastern. Free tournament. Booster box for FM21 for first place. Wizardtower.com store credit for the rest of the top 8. Coverage will be streamed live. Twitch.tv/Disorganized Wizards Club, starting right away at noon. So come tune in, play in the event. It's going to be a great day. Check out dwc.gg if you want links to our events or links to our YouTube, our Twitch channel, Patreon, everything. It's all there. And however you listen to the show, whether it's Podbean, iTunes, any podcast app, leave a review, rate the podcast, share it with your friends. Everything helps, keeps this thing growing, bring it to new listeners. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next week.
Man, you got to add something into that outro because people can also listen to our show on dwc.gg.
Oh
yeah.
That's true.
So if you're just finding this out now, you can go to our website and listen again.
True.